Hello, and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm the producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me on Mondays always is our host, Logan Landers. How's it going, Logan?
Hey, rise and shine, Jeremiah. Another great Monday. Ready to talk some more football with you.
Absolutely. Well, today we're going to talk about Feleipe Franks, the starting quarterback for Arkansas. Everything's up in the air, of course, but we're going to go ahead and give it to you the way that we see it because no matter what happens, Feleipe Franks has a lot coming down. He's got a lot to worry about, a lot of things to do, and we just want to let you know a little bit more about what he's got going on, right?
Of course, man.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about Feleipe.
Let's see.
All right, Feleipe Franks, the 6'6", 235-pound senior quarterback for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Now, he transferred to Arkansas this past January, but before his college career, he attended McCullough High School down there in Florida. I know our man Bobby Butler, I'm sure, has some stories about McCullough, I'm sure. Now, during his high school career, he threw for 6,867 yards with a total of 81 touchdowns. So he wasn't playing any games back in college, man. He was absolutely slinging the ball left, right, and straight through the middle. He was a four-star recruit after those amazing numbers we just saw. And he originally committed to the LSU Tigers. Now, as we all know, the LSU Tigers have been dominant the last couple of years in college football. But Feleipe, thought it would be better to transfer to the Florida Gators. So that is where he went to go commit. And I think he made a great choice going to the Gators in the beginning of his career. He'd get more playing time and really show off what he can do. And man, he didn't mess around. Now, like most freshmen going in, he redshirted his 2016 season. A large amount of quarterbacks do that. They get a year to feel themselves out, to learn the playbook, all that stuff. But man, in 2017 is when he really started to get his feet wet. So he was named the starter versus number 11 Michigan at the time in 2017. But he wasn't having the best game, so he was benched after halftime. Now, I'm sure if you were a fan watching at home during that game, you were kind of unsure about what Feleipe would be like. But, man, he was able to prove the doubters wrong. And that next week, and Jeremiah, I'm sorry to say it, buddy, but next week, Florida won the game, won a 63-yard Hail Mary game winner. Man, I know that had the sting.
I know, yeah.
I'm sorry, man, but that was one of his first college highlights, man, and I'm sure a lot of Gators fans remember that moment very vividly.
A lot of Vols fans remember that, so we know who Feleipe Franks is, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now, Feleipe just got started with that 2017 season, man. He finished it out with 1,438 yards with a total of 9 touchdowns. So, like I said, first really full year, improved on his numbers, but, man, his sophomore season, that's when he went off. 2,457 yards with 24 touchdowns to boot and 7 rushing touchdowns as well. The Gators finished the season on a 10-3 record, and they were ranked number 7. And they finished off that year by beating Michigan in the Peach Bowl by a score of 41-15. And man, people forget how dominant that Michigan defense was back then. Man, they had one of the best, top defenses in the country. And Feleipe and his crew were able to go in there and just whack them right in the mouth.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man. So, another good fact I found about Feleipe, he's actually drafted by the Boston Red Sox in June of 2018.
Really?
Yeah. He was the 947th overall pick. And, I was like, man, Feleipe got drafted? Because he didn't play any in college. But see, he played a little bit in high school. And he was able to throw a 94-mile-an-hour fastball still. But, being a quarterback and with his, 6'6" frame, that doesn't surprise me all that well. So, he's a very athletic, player for sure. Now, he also finished his 2019 season for the Florida Gators with 698 yards through the air with 5 touchdowns. Now, unfortunately, he was not able to finish that season as he dislocated his ankle versus the Kentucky Wildcats, and he was able to miss the remainder of the season. And, man, after, recovering and all that, he decided it'd be best to transfer to Arkansas to hopefully get a fresh start. But, I'm pretty high on Feleipe Franks. He had this, ankle injury that, might have potentially harmed his career. But I think, most ankle injuries you can come back from, especially him being as big as he is. I think that, he's put a lot of work in on the gym and rehab. And overall, I think he's just going to be stronger and just a more efficient quarterback. He's really going to be able to he's got a new group in Arkansas, so he's got to learn all the players. But who knows with this season when it's going to start. So he might get a little bit more time to learn his fellow players. However, we'll see.
Yeah. Again, it is up in the air, especially at this very moment, whether or not we're even going to have a fall season or not. Whether or not we do, though, I can tell you that players like Feleipe Franks are looking to prove themselves. And even if they don't get to play a normal season or even not a season at all this year, I think that he's going to be working really hard to get into the right spot. Like you're saying, he's going to learn the season. He's going to learn all the playbook. This may turn into another equivalent red shirt season for everybody. So I think what the real hope is that, if he can get established and he can get himself in the right place for Arkansas, whether they play now or they end up playing later or they end up playing some modified season, he's going to come out the gate swinging. And especially with that, he can throw what'd you say? How was the percentage?
94 mile an hour.
A 94 per hour fastball.
Yeah,
and he's going to be putting some balls into some hands,
Yeah, I feel bad for the receivers having to catch that, man. Definitely got to get some gloves or else you'll get some blisters, no doubt.
Oh, yeah. You can imagine putting your hands up over your shoulder and trying to catch a bullet like that.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
Absolutely. Well, what's your final thoughts on Feleipe Franks?
My final thoughts are I think Feleipe Franks will have a solid year this year. Like you said, coming out the gate swinging, no doubt. That 6'6" frame, 94 mile an hour fastball, which translates very well into football. And, he's going to have a little bit more time to, scout his receivers, his running backs, all of his, his offensive line, the whole 9 yards. And I think he's going to be able to have a solid year for the Arkansas Razorbacks and really bounce back after that scary ankle injury he got last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we already, like I said, the Vols, like you said, the Vols already know a little bit about Feleipe Franks. And,
unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, and we're looking to see exactly what happens with him as well. We're kind of glad that he's not with Florida anymore because they've been trying to rebuild for a few years and compete with they're like right on that par with Tennessee trying to do the rebuilding. Those are two teams that not too long ago were thought of as super powerhouses.
No doubt.
So we're going to keep our eyes out on Feleipe Franks. For everybody that's watching, we are 100 Yards of Football, Sports Talk Radio. We come to you live every Monday and Wednesday from Atlanta, Georgia, mainly, but with remote guests from all over the world, actually. We bring you sports history videos. We bring you prospects. We bring you team previews. And we bring you legends interviews where we bring in great football heroes and greats from college and from the NFL. And we interview them and talk to them about the history. Another thing that we're starting to do now is we're bringing in more guests from guest commentators, other journalists, and other people that are really big in the online sports world. So keep watching it because we're going to be coming back every single week with brand new lives. If you have any comments or any thoughts on Feleipe Franks, on Arkansas, on the season, on football in general, or just anything that you'd like to talk to us about, drop us a comment and make sure to follow and subscribe. So for 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio, I'm the producer, Jeremiah Long. Joining me was our host, Logan Landers.